Be nice.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to also go find us on the Instagram, the Twitter, and our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. We are live on. Wow, that was very obnoxious. Look, babe, we're live. The phone told me.
That's just you in general,
So
though.
I'm going to go share it. All right.
You're like all holiday today.
I am. So I am.
She's Christmas on the top and Halloween on the bottom.
I'm wearing my two favorite holidays, Christmas and Halloween pants. So that does not go together at all.
I'm wearing Ice Cube.
Well, that's good.
And you made me put on pants.
I did make you put on some sort of a pant. I'm sorry. You're wearing shorts. I mean, at least
I am wearing shorts.
It's not like you're wearing real man pants.
I was not wearing
or
pants.
slacks.
Yeah, I was not wearing pants at all. I was just wearing boxers. I didn't actually put on pants all day. I was wearing my boxers.
Well, and you don't actually own like jeans or anything.
No, I don't own any of that.
You have one pair of slacks, which is your everything, like wedding and funeral.
I have my Matlock suit.
Yeah, wedding and funeral, and that's about it. So, all right.
I think it's.
Let's talk about some movies, buddy.
Oh no!
What happened?
Well, what you want to talk about first, sister?
All right, let me get to the right screen. Where's my mouse? My mouse has disappeared. All right, here we go. These are our options right there. Oh, you can see them all right there.
Awesome. You tell us what you want to go with.
Well, I don't even know. I don't know what came out when or what's the most recent. It doesn't really matter.
We're all talking about it all today.
All right. You want to just go in this order?
Sure, whatever you say, boss.
Okay, so we're going to start here with this movie. It looks super cute. I have no idea what it's about.
Oh.
But you're going to tell me about this. I just like that the little thing. He looks so furry.
Yeah, it's a stop motion animation film called Even Mice Belong in Heaven.
It's not sharing.
It's not sharing.
Goodness.
What do you mean it's not sharing?
I didn't turn on share on the right screen.
Hold on, we'll wait till she does her job properly.
I know. Here you go.
Did it share?
Now it's sharing.
Okay. Anyway, called Even Mice Belong in Heaven. And I keep referring to it as Mice Belong in Heaven also.
Oh, they all do.
It's a stop motion animation film. I want to say it's probably a foreign film. It's in English, but all of the names involved seem like it might have been a foreign pickup.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm a sucker for anything stop motion animation. I think it's an art form that's not as prominent as it used to be, but thanks to people like Leica and Aardman Studios, we still get some great ones. But when you get those outside ones, they're not as they don't get as highly publicized sometimes. Sometimes they're not as good. This one, I was on the fence with watching because I'm always down for supporting that kind of thing, but it didn't look overly appealing to me.
Yeah.
The style of it reminded me of the Fantastic Mr. Fox. If you've ever seen that,
I haven't yet. I keep telling me to watch it, and I never did.
Did you ever watch the other one about the Isle of Dogs?
I did watch that.
Okay, it's very much the same thing. Same person made both movies.
Okay.
And they are fuzzy, like you said.
He looks fuzzy.
And so the premise of the movie is they're normal animals. They're not like a world of. I mean, there is a world of animals, but I mean, in theory, I guess there's people as well. But it's about this mouse who's. Excuse me, all the mice. Sorry, they're afraid of the foxes because the foxes kill the mice, right?
Oh, yes.
And so the movie kicks off with this mouse deciding to go. They sets up the tone. So he basically goes up this fox and he decides he's going to stand up to the fox.
Huh.
Well, then events occur, and both the mouse and the fox end up in the afterlife. So now it's a journey through the afterlife of them trying to figure out because the mouse's father had been killed by a fox. And so now he's wanting to find his dad. They're stuck kind of together. And so it's like a whole dealing with differences and the ideas of what's expected of you. Like you're a fox, you have to kill the mice. And the things of I don't want to be that. And it's dealing with a lot of those social commentaries of life and expectations and things aren't always what they seem and friendship and family. And it's a lot of them there. So, but it ended up being pretty cute. It was entertaining. It's like a little adventure with a little heart and a little silliness and a wide variety of random animals. So
the mice looks a little scary to me. It's a little creepy. I'm scared of mice.
There's one mouse that has like a mustache.
Does it
He's got a little mustache.
That's cute.
The alligator is my favorite. It just looks the best.
Oh my!
But there's a wide variety of different characters.
So is this just animal heaven? I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like all dogs go to heaven, but they're like trying to find a way to adapt. But then also, can they get back home?
Oh,
are they gone yet? Because they're not in heaven yet. They're kind of. I mean, they could. I guess they could be technically.
They're just
to me, it felt like they're in the in between, right? And then trying to decide what they deserve to be and where they deserve to be at and all that good stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's a fun little movie if you like those kind of things. Like I said, I love all stop motion animation, so I'll give all of it a chance. And the animation is really good here.
It's a Czech film.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because the lady's Czech. The lady that wrote the novel.
She likes Chex Mix?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a prolific writer of children's novels.
And this is based on a novel.
Yes.
So
she writes children's books.
Did she write the book too?
Mm-hmm,
yeah. She wrote the book and directed the movie?
I don't think she directed it.
Oh, you just looked.
I just looked her up.
Sorry.
Her book. But then I looked up the people that made it, and it's a Czech film.
Okay, I got you.
So it is foreign. So please support them.
So check it out.
What are these?
They're dung beetles.
Oh,
they're like military, and they fly around like
there's a little mole.
Yeah,
with giant glasses.
There's a scene where it's funny because the fox scares one of the mice and like little poop pellets fall out, and all of a sudden the dung beetle shows up because they got to come pick up all the dung and.
Oh my!
So dung beetles are like the military, picking up all the poop everywhere. And then
this sounds super fun.
It is. It's a cute little movie.
Okay, so anyway, get your kids and watch it.
And it's not in theaters; it's on video on demand.
Oh.
Samuel Goldwyn Films put it out. It's like a lower
like
budget.
a children's thing, then.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
What?
That makes me think of Golden Books.
No, it's Samuel Goldwyn.
I know.
Goldwyn the films.
I know, but it makes me think of Golden Books. It just looks super cute.
It's available now. Check it out. It's a fun little flick.
Okay, next.
I don't know what's next.
We're going to continue.
We're staying with the world of animals and animation. What we got?
The next movie is called Back to the Outback. And this movie I thought was hilarious.
It's a new animated film on the Netflix.
Yes. So basically the story.
Before you say that, can I tell you that both the last one that I watched and this one, I didn't really want to watch either one of these.
I know.
Neither one of them seemed appealing to me.
But this one ended up being a lot of fun.
It did.
So basically the story is all these animals that you see in the poster, they live at the zoo in Australia.
They all die and go to... Oh, no, wrong movie.
No, they're all at the Australia Zoo in Sydney. And the koala, his name is Pretty Boy. And he's like the prettiest animal in the zoo. And everyone goes to the zoo to see him. And all he does is sit in a tree and play with his toys. And he
even has like the 24-hour camera, like the zoos with the giraffes and stuff that we're doing for a while.
Yes, it's so funny. So he's Pretty Boy. And the rest of them, as you can see, are more of like your predatory type critters. So your tarantula, your scorpion and the snake. And
the horned-toed lizard or spiked lizard or whatever it is.
And so they come out during the danger show. You know, it's like the most violent animal in the outback. And so it kind of follows their story and then what happens to them when they're off stage. So to them, going out to do the shows where they bring out the animals and show people is like they're doing the show and then they're behind the scenes and you get to see them on their off hours. And it's so
Which
funny.
I thought is clever because all of the dangerous animals are all the really nice animals.
They're so nice.
So it was a nice twist on these are the ones that people are scared of when they're, but they're all the super nice animals.
Like the tarantula wants to be a ballet dancer or
right.
something. You know,
well, it's funny because, you know, the spiders do that dance.
Yes.
And there's a scene where he's like, sees the ladies and he's dancing like too late.
They're like mating season's over, mate. Oh, it's so cute. And one of them wants to be a singer. And it's just the cutest, most ridiculous movie. But they decide they are going to escape the zoo and go back to the outback and find their families.
A crocodile as well.
Oh, that crocodile is so sweet.
Yes.
Anyway, so they're on basically an adventure to go find their families and their real home. Is basically what it is.
Which is interesting because...
Why are you so sleepy today?
I live with you.
Wow. Do you need a drink?
It's because most of them clearly have been in captivity their entire life. And they don't really want to go. Like, they go for different reasons. And then when they finally get about halfway there, they're like, we don't want to be out here. Where's my rock? And then later on, they're like, look, there's rocks and it's not plastic, you know?
Yeah. It's just
it's interesting.
And then you have the thing between the Pretty Boy koala and all the other animals, and they don't get along, but they have to work together if they want to survive this adventure. Yeah. So, I mean, it's your typical story of having to work together
It's a pretty generic animated film.
Yeah.
It's not breaking new ground. It's not a story you haven't seen on some form or another. The posters in my initial trailer, I actually thought it was going to be something that's a little more of the cheaper looking animation. It wasn't until we started watching it that I realized, okay, it's actually way better animation. This could be easily a theatrical release type film. It's very bright and vibrant, feast for the senses, if you will. But yeah, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's like I said, it's predictable. You kind of know what's going to happen, but
it's okay.
These kind of movies usually are. They're not for us. They're for the ones.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I mean, that's all you need to know. It's cute, so check it out.
If you want to find a new animated film that's different than having to watch Cocomelon or Frozen all over again, then there you go. There's a new one on Netflix you can watch.
There you go. Back to the Outback.
Available now.
But I mean, then there's a whole separate story about the zookeeper too. So there's a lot going on in this movie. It's really cute.
There's like some Crocodile Hunter references, and did you know Eric Bana was one of the voices?
No, I did not.
Because you like Eric Bana. You always like, where is Eric Bana?
I do ask that. No,
He's Australian.
That's probably why. Yeah. All right, are we ready?
Yeah. What we got next? Oh yeah.
Okay.
My man Scott.
You tell us about this.
So the next one I was obviously excited for was a movie called One Shot, starring my man Scott Adkins. What's her name? Ashley Green.
Yes.
I don't remember her, Lowry or whatever.
Her new name is.
And Ryan Phillippe.
It's Ashley Green Corey.
Whatever. Ryan Phillippe.
Yes, I love Ryan Phillippe, and we don't get enough of him.
I agree.
And then when we do, it's like he's gone. He's there and he's gone.
I think because he probably has so many things constantly going on. I'm starting to think he takes on jobs. It's like this is another case of that. Is he's in this movie and then he's gone most of the movie, but then he's back.
Then he's back.
Whereas then, like that show, Big Sky, he's in like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and then
he's gone again. And I'm like, what the heck is going on with Ryan Phillippe? I love him so much, and I want to see him do more.
Well, and my thing with him is from my knowledge, my understanding is he has black belts in Taekwondo, and so I keep this is the prime kind of movie I want to see him in. I'm like, oh, he's good fighting. He doesn't get to do any fighting. I'm like, somebody give Ryan Phillippe his day. But anyway, this is actually a Scott Adkins movie. So
yeah, it's not about Ryan Phillippe at the moment.
So what's unique about this movie is it's not really a martial arts flick. There is some martial arts in it. It's more of a shoot 'em up action, military kind of thing, almost Die Hard-esque, trying to get out of, they're trapped in they're basically the Rangers?
I don't know. They're SEALs. It's a SEAL team.
They're not like SEALs. They're like Navy SEALs.
It's a SEAL team.
Anyway, they show up to
somewhere. Some secret base.
They come to a base and then they escort a prisoner back to wherever they're back. Ashley Green is like
she's there
agent,
from the
liaison kind of thing that's supposed to be in charge of the transfer.
I think she's there from the CIA.
Yeah, something like that. And the SEAL team are basically her escort to take them back. Ryan Phillippe is in charge of the facility, and he's not having none of this. So basically, they get there, somebody attacks, and you don't know if they're wanting to break them out, or if they're wanting to kill them, or if they're just trying to wipe everybody out. You don't really know.
We don't know.
You don't know who's involved and who's not. But basically, it becomes an hour and a half shootout.
Correct.
So it's pretty much a nonstop action sequence once it sets up. And the title is accurate because the film, even though it was done with stitch filming, I think that's what they call it.
Yes.
It's considered technically a single shot film. But what they've done is they do what's called a stitch shot, where they shoot as long as they possibly can until they have to cut it. And then there's a whole thing of how they restart it in the exact same spot and the exact same angle and then keep shooting. So it's not, there's no fades, there's no drops. It's kind of like the movie 1917 did. It's
all one long take.
Yeah, it's one long take, but not really.
Theirs, I think the longest they said was like 7 or 8 minutes a shot, which is a long time.
Yeah, especially when you're shooting fight scenes and shootouts. And
it's all very cleverly done to where you can tell. You remember that sword movie we watched that was the one shot thing?
That one was actually shot in one single shot.
Yes, well, they did something similar to where, something will happen, somebody dies here, so then the camera kind of goes here, so then these guys can probably get up for a second, but then they do leave them there. They come back.
Yeah.
Whereas in the sword fight, people
were moving so far away from
people were like,
Yeah, they were like
scooching out
they
of
were
the
dragging
frame.
him out of the
I'm
frame.
like, okay, that's a little much, but it's actually really interesting. And I didn't know what was going on with Ryan Phillippe's character, like
because you
if
think
he was shady or not.
Yeah, first you think he might be dead, then you think he might be involved, then you just don't see him
alive,
anymore.
and then he got
Did he
blown
run
up?
away?
I don't know.
Like, he's gone for most of the film.
And then.
So this is probably one of the first.
I was gonna say the whole Ashley Greene thing. I think that part could have been anybody. Honestly,
Yeah. She didn't bring anything new.
Inconsequential.
So let me ask you this: you haven't really watched much, if any, Scott Adkins. This is really
I have not.
Like your first Scott Adkins movie that he's the star.
Yeah,
you've seen him in stuff like Doctor Strange and
little
things like this.
Here and there.
So I would like your opinion. You've now got to see him in it out of the context of just straight up martial arts, just as an actor as well. What is your opinion of the great Scott Adkins?
I think he did a good job.
And just remember, our marriage is on the line.
I know. No, I think he did a really good job. He didn't have a lot of heavy dialogue, so that's probably okay. I guess
he's actually a very good actor.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, he did a lot of shooting him up, and he did do some cool kicking.
He does.
Is cool. There's this one fight. Okay.
His kicking is very basic in this movie in comparison to what he does.
No, but the grappling and the ground fighting in this was crazy because, there's a one time where the guy has him like this and he wants to move him and he's trying to scooch him. And so then he picks him up and throws him. And I was like, oh, that would suck. Anyways, no, the fighting and the shooting in this was actually really good. I liked it. I liked the movie. I didn't know what to expect because I was like, some military shoot 'em up.
She just thought I was forcing her to watch Scott Adkins.
Pretty much.
And I was.
That's like your favorite person in the world.
It is. He's like my new.
He's your thing.
He's in the it's funny is every generation of my life I've had like a little group of martial arts actors that I'm fans of, and then when those kind of zoom back a little bit, there's always a few that take their place.
But you've talked to him, right? And
I've interviewed him like 2 or 3 times.
Did you tell him that? Hey,
he knows I'm
a fan,
uncomfortably in love with him. No, he knows. I've interviewed him a few times. He's a very nice guy, very English.
Yeah.
But he also during the pandemic he was posting kicking tutorials on his YouTube.
Yes.
And then he started his own show on YouTube during the pandemic, interviewing other action stars. So he would dive in and talk to them. Of course, he has connections, so he was getting some really good people. Talk to Cynthia Rothrock, all these people. So anyway,
that's cool.
But the movie's actually, it's I would say it's probably a generic action flick. I'm more invested into it because of my love for Scott Adkins and the action and everything else. Everybody's good in it. There's a couple of people that their performances are a little.
It's like meh, but that's okay.
You're really watching it for the action, and it is hard to tell where the cuts actually take place in this movie.
Yeah,
it
does look like one big long thing.
Yeah, we weren't even sure if it was a stitch one until we watched behind the scenes, and then they explained how they're able to pull off the stitch. And it's interesting because it's almost like those games you get where you have to fit a shape. If it's going down a road and you got to fit a shape to a hole that's the same shape, you know what I'm talking about? That's kind of how they had to shoot some stuff. So if somebody's standing around a corner with a gun and that's where it's going to cut at, then they had a line thing. So when they put them back, they had to line them back into that same exact silhouette so that it matched. So that when they hit action, it picked up where it left off. Same movement. There's no glitch. There's no jump.
Yep. So it's actually really interesting.
But it was also interesting on some of the angles. You could tell, they spent all this time with these people, and then they'd follow a terrorist person, which tells you, okay, they can give these people a break for a second, and then the shoot up happens, comes back and grabs them, but it never feels like it's something else.
Correct.
The opening shot I thought was pretty interesting because the whole thing's inside a helicopter. The helicopter landing and getting out of the helicopter.
Getting out of it. I was thinking as we were watching, I was like, man, this poor camera guy, because he's having to move everywhere and walk forward and back. So, they have the guy behind him that's doing this to move him around. So then it reminded me when we went to go pet the seals, or the dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
And Bobby was holding me on the life jacket. He pushed me out there so I could take the picture with the dolphin, and then I pulled her back.
So I could keep her from getting in the
water.
water.
And I was just like, that's enough for me.
And then I dived into the water.
Yes, and you did the thing where the dolphin pushed you, and you're like,
that's right. Pushed me, picked me up, grabbed the fin, swam with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing any of that.
In the defense of you keep saying a seal, we did go to the SeaWorld and took the picture with the gigantic sea
lion.
Sea lion.
Where he was like,
well, they said, don't touch it. So of course, I'm over here going.
No, but then he did one of those things where he got the flipper. It's so fun.
Anyway, One Shot it's a great little action flick.
It's fun.
It's if nothing else, it's just impressive to watch them handle the single shot thing, and you can see some ass kicking and some shooting and some blood and everything else. So check out One Shot. It's available now on the DVD from Screen Media.
There you go. All right, next. Okay. Bless you. Peace be with you.
I am so sorry.
Okay, now we move on to one of my favorite people in a movie that I just didn't know about what I was going to think.
I'm hit and miss on this one.
Me too. This is the new Netflix movie, The Unforgivable, starring Sandra Bullock. What you know from the trailer is that she has just gotten out of prison and she's trying to get back to real life, and throughout the movie you're flashing back and trying to figure out and unravel the mystery, I guess, of what happened.
That sounds accurate.
I don't really know if I enjoyed this movie.
After sitting with it, this is 3 separate movies.
There's just too much going on.
Well, and that's the thing, is that there's a... Let me break down my opinion of the 3 movies. You can tell me if you think the same thing. There's one movie, it's about a person who is trying to reacclimate in society from being in prison. Because she went to prison when she was young.
Yep.
Then you have another story about the case, and the murder case, and whatever not the murder case, the case of why she went to prison, and trying to see the conspiracy. It's a mystery. The mystery and the conspiracies and the lawyer. So now it's like a law thing that in there.
Yeah, there's a whole legal thing happening.
Then you have the whole other thing of kind of a struggling love story. You know, it's all encompassed.
Well, and there's also the secondary subplot thing of like a revenge thing happening too.
Yes, that too. Yes.
There's just a lot happening, and
I don't. While I think she is really good in the movie, it never gives you enough time to get fully invested in any one story because of too much happening.
I think what is kind of disappointing to me is I've seen her be better.
See, and I was on the thing that I think this is one of her better ones in a while, just in performance-wise, not movie-wise, but performance-wise.
I don't know, because I feel like every time we try to start working down, like she's out in the real world trying to like get a job and live life, and then I feel like we go through this, and then it's like boom, something else happens. So I feel like each time she's trying to get going in this character or this role, it's
that's
like
the issue,
stops
because
and cuts here and there.
The entire thing leading up to the prison sentence and all that could have been a movie by itself. The whole thing of her getting out of prison and trying to prove her innocence or prove what really happened could have been a movie by itself.
Well, she wasn't even trying to prove her innocence.
No, I know, but I'm saying to prove what was really going on and do everything and trying to get her.
And then there's all these other people that are just haters of people who've been in prison, so you got that going on.
There's also issues of things that make no sense in this movie, like she returns to a house that she once lived at, and then they just, after meeting her once, randomly let her in the house.
Yeah, no, that was a problem for me.
That immediately was like,
why would you let some random stranger in your home?
Especially when it's a character that does so as a lawyer, you'd be the first person to be like.
But see, then I started thinking, okay, what if we went to the house that you grew up on? Would you be like, hey, I used to live here. Can I come in?
I know people that have done that.
That's so weird to me.
But it is weird, but nowadays, I agree. I think it's very strange.
It's odd.
Back in the day, I know people used to do that all the time. That you pop in or just say
weird.
And it used to be, might be a courtesy. You knock on the door to say, hey, I'm not being weird. I was just showing somebody out because I'm outside the house. I'm just showing them where I used to live. I don't just think we're weirdos.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they're like, well, do you want to see inside what we've done? Come on in. And then most of them, but we've also seen the majority of how that usually ends, and it's usually wiping out everybody in the family.
It's pulling your samurai sword off your back.
I also think there's a lot of wasted talent in this movie. Like Viola Davis is
she
no
didn't
purpose
do
in this
anything.
movie.
The other guy, her husband,
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, like he
has more to do than she does, but
then
she has no purpose in this movie. It makes me sad because she's such a great actress. It was like made me wonder, did she take this role thinking there was more to it? She has
one really good impactful scene, but I'm like,
this had to be this had to be like a
she was
favor.
She was just like, I don't have anything to do this summer.
That's what I'm saying. This had to be a favor to somebody, because Bullock produced this one too. So this must have been some sort of a passion project that she really wanted made. And so she had more invested.
I appreciate her look and her vibe in the movie. I will give her props for that. She does look very just bleh, and not. I don't know what to say.
She's very homely.
She looks so, but it's not that. She just looks so broken and sad and.
Well, see, and that's why I think the performance is so bad, because
I guess so.
She looks it physically. She delivers.
She's living it.
There's nothing redeeming about her.
She's trying to stay in isolation. I feel like she might have been happier staying in jail.
Yeah, it's another one of those.
It's one of those. It's just I don't know. Oh,
even
John Boy's in there.
Yeah, even John Boy shows up at Kent, and nobody told him goodnight.
I know, good night, John Boy.
But yeah, and there's that element of her trying to reconnect with some family.
I might have to watch this again because I just.
Yeah, see, for me, I'm done. But there's an element of her reconnecting with the family that just seemed like
it's just
kind of forced.
Weird.
And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of elements that are really good. There's a really good movie in here.
Yeah, I just don't know.
But it might have needed to be more of a TV series than a movie.
Yeah,
I think it would have worked better as a series and let
stretch
out the different elements of the case and the different.
Yeah, because on the case side, I mean, there's like that whole thing of this whole revenge plot going on, and
I mean, if you give it
that part was like,
you give it like a 10-episode arc.
No,
then
I mean,
I'm just saying in a series
5, 6
I'm saying you give it a 10-episode arc, you can work out all the stuff that led up to it. You can work out because there's the revenge plot is like very rushed and almost like you don't even really like it's a case that you should sympathize with those people.
Yeah,
but you don't. They come off looking like just assholes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like even though they're kind of in the right, they come off like jerks. They don't come out like people that deserve it. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know that it got great reviews either.
I've read I've read some stuff. It's been hit and miss. Some people have really praised it. Other people have said it was unwatchable.
I mean, she's okay. I just feel like I've seen her do better in other things. So I mean, that's fine. We don't have to like everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things that you just watch it, decide for yourself. Like I read one review, they said it was completely unwatchable. Which I don't agree with that.
And then I saw someone else say, not as bad as everyone says. So I think it's a mixed review. But you know what? If you like Sandra Bullock, give it a chance. It was fine.
It was.
It wasn't just great for me. I didn't fall in love with it.
Needed more.
And I love Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, it needed more time or it needed to trim out some of the fat so it could give more time
there's
to
just
other
something
plot
that
elements.
was off.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
So anyway, it's on Netflix now.
Check it out. It's not going to cost you anything because it's on Netflix.
Well, it costs you a membership.
Well, everybody has Netflix.
Not everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Netflix is
My parents don't have Netflix. Your parents don't have Netflix.
Well, but your parents are on our Netflix.
Yeah, but they only have one TV in the bedroom. Nobody's watching it.
Oh, Lord. Anyways. But yeah, they managed to do pay-per-view and watch stuff before we do.
They watch in the living room.
Oh, Lord.
Because they still have satellite. So they pay-per-view through satellite.
Oh, my goodness. I don't even understand.
Well, your parents have satellite or whatever.
They have regular cable.
So your parents are further behind than mine.
I know.
So
who knows? Our parents and technology don't mix.
Your parents probably still have.
I have to go and fix their computer all the time because
cable.
My dad moves things on the menu and he's like, it just disappeared. And then your parents have broken like 5 computers.
No, my mother.
Okay, well,
yes,
it's a thing. And she has like 5 different Facebook profiles. So when it was her birthday, I didn't even know which one to say happy birthday to. So
but it's a good thing for you to just have to tell her herself.
I know. All right, moving on. Next movie.
Is our last one?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We didn't have a whole lot this week. All right. This is kind of the big one.
Yeah. This got a theatrical release as well, I believe.
Yes. I'm about to yawn. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is Being the Ricardos with Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem. And J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons. And another lovely lady whose name I don't remember.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. I didn't even post the review for the other. I got so distracted about Sandra Bullock.
Nina Arianda.
There you go. Okay.
And Tony Hale is there.
Yes. So this is a look into the life of Lucille Ball and I want to call him Ricardo. Desi Arnaz.
It's actually a look at a week in the life of shooting one episode. But it does offer up some flashbacks to get little snippets of their life and their careers.
Yes, and this is during a very historic, momentous time, tumultuous even, of their relationship when something happens to Lucy and the press has turned against her. This is a real life story, like really happened. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, what did you think? Give me some thoughts, because I've got many thoughts.
Yeah, so I am not a Nicole Kidman fan.
Correct.
She's done some things that I liked. I loved her in BMX Bandits.
Wow, that's way back.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was Nicole Kidman.
The only thing I liked her in was The Others.
You've liked her in other things.
Have I?
Yes. You say that every time. You're like, oh, I
like The Others.
But anyway,
we're not huge fans.
Javier Bardem, I like. He takes on some weird roles, but I like him in No Country for Old Men, even James Bond. I love J.K. Simmons.
Yes,
I've been a J.K. Simmons fan back to Oz when he was on that show. He's also an Eminem and J. Jonah Jameson, Commissioner Gordon. That's a lot of things. Nina Arianda I think she was the one that was in, wasn't she the secretary in that sex show? The one with Michael Sheen.
I don't think so.
I thought she was the prostitute secretary or whatever that came in and started helping them.
No, that was the other lady.
She's right there.
No. She was not in that show. No. The blonde secretary lady?
Yeah.
No.
Scroll down.
No, it was the other lady.
What other lady? I don't remember.
The lady that's in that funny show right now.
What funny show?
I'll go find it. Go keep
talking. What funny show you were talking about?
The funny show that's on TV right now.
I don't know. I want to know what funny show on TV. Now that's all I care about. I don't even care about this movie. I wonder what this funny show on TV is.
The Be Positive.
That's not that girl.
I think it is.
I don't think that's her.
Her? That's not her. But it's not that lady either.
No, you're probably right. Anyway.
That's why I said talk about the movie we're talking about.
You can talk about the movie too, Mrs. I always constantly going through the things while we're talking about stuff.
Because I'm trying to help you.
Look, you're going to yell. Hold on, we're going to take a pause for this to have a marital dispute.
This lady.
Every show.
Annalee Ashford.
Every show.
Is the secretary.
While we're talking, you're looking up something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
That is not necessarily true.
And now you're going to tell me focus and talk about the show we're talking about.
Yes, you need to focus and talk about the show.
On. We've moved on from that part of the story.
Let's go. She's on Be Positive. See, I sometimes know very random things.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Moving on.
Well, you didn't tell me what you thought. You told me you're not a fan of Nicole Kidman. You like Javier Bardem. You like J.K. Simmons. Okay. What about the movie? And some other random guy.
That's what I mentioned the lady. That's how we got into the whole discussion. You don't even listen. You're the worst.
You're the worst. Anyhow.
I wasn't sure if I was going to like, because I like Aaron Sorkin's work, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like the idea of, when you watch a biopic, I always want to see the history of their careers and their lives and the beginning to where we're at. So when they shrink them down, a lot of times you feel like, well, I got no new information. I just saw them making the show. I actually really like the way they handled this because I'm not sure they could have done this story this way that gave everybody moments to shine had they not focused on this 1 week.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
It's like Fred and Ethel in the movie, I thought they stole the whole movie. I thought they were the best parts of this movie. Mm-hmm. But I did like everybody in the cast. I thought she did a good job as Lucy. She floats in and out of it sometimes, but she's also trying to play Lucille Ball and Lucy Ricardo, and having to be a powerful woman. She's also having to be a normal woman, an actress, a boss, a studio, all these different things at the same time. There's a lot of elements. Mm-hmm. So, and yes, I love Lucy. I'm not a crazy person fan like she is. So what is your opinion of the film?
Okay. So for Nicole Kidman, I liked her look. I think she nailed the look. The voice was kind of touch and go for me. Like, I think towards the end of the movie, she really captured it. And I know Nicole Kidman went through a lot of vocal lessons to try and capture the essence of her voice. Because Lucille Ball had a weird, not weird.
She had a lunch lady voice.
She had a distinct
Smoker's
way of talking. Correct.
Because she talked like this.
But then in the show, too, she'd do kind of a higher tone sometime and go in, up and down. So I don't think she really captured the voice perfectly well. So for me, I was listening for that. And towards the end, I finally got it. So fine. Javier Bardem, fine, whatever. I mean, I think we could have found someone more close to the appearance of Desi Arnaz.
Yeah, he nailed the performance, but he doesn't look anything. Although I will say he did look more like him than I thought he was going to.
Yeah.
Like with the makeup and the hair and the way they did him. But I agree. He's got a big head.
Yes.
And he's that kind of guy that he's got that nice, unique look, Hispanic, look to him and everything. But Desi Arnaz was more of a pretty boy kind of look.
Correct.
And he looks more like a rugged man.
Yes, he was a little more manly than the other. It doesn't matter. I mean, it looks fine. For For me, the performances within the show were good because the show. Then the real life stuff, I thought that they did really well on that.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you and I both found a little confusing were the flashbacks.
Yeah, they're not always clear.
There's a lot of flash back and forth, and it's not clear that we're in a flashback until you listen to the dialogue. And I think you had problems hearing some of the dialogue.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is too is because they're not always flashing very far back.
Correct.
They don't look aged. They don't look like
it may have been like a couple of years, or it could have been a couple of months ago.
Yeah, and it also transitions from one conversation that's similar to the flashback conversation because they're trying to connect it.
Yeah.
So like, there's an element. One of the biggest ones that threw me was a whole thing with Lucy.
Lucille.
No, she's gonna be Lucy.
She's Lucille in real life. She's only
my
Lucy
grandmother
on the
was
show.
Lucille. She is Lucy.
But they make that distinction. So she's
that.
Lucy on the show.
I know.
She is Lucille in real life.
Well, if you want to get in real life, she's Nicole.
No,
but where she's talking about her movie career.
Well, that I knew was a flashback because she had the brown hair.
Before that, they're talking about in the current time about the movie stuff and things, and then all of a sudden it shifts back to her doing this other thing, and you're kind of like, once you realize the hair and stuff, you see the difference. But at first,
it's the brown hair when she was doing movies.
And then when she's talking meetings with the studio heads when she loses her contract stuff, and sometimes it's hard to tell the thing because it's so purposefully streamlined into the one aspect of it. Because usually the flashback fit something in the dialogue. So it was her way of taking this conversation. And see, we got to this point because of this point.
Yeah. And so you do get a full picture of their life and their careers. You really do.
Somewhat,
this week of span of time. But
some of the early stuff is done through dialogue, not through saying, hey.
Like interviews. Like, for example, they pretend they're interviewing one of the writers on the show who's now old.
Which I like that element because that gave the like, almost like you're learning.
Because I got to see Alice.
Yeah, you're learning from...
It would be that was Alice, wasn't it?
Alice who?
From the show.
Oh, yeah. They played the old version of that lady. Yeah.
What's her name? I'm sorry.
I don't remember, but you're right, from the Alice show. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to go look it up anyway.
We just know she's not Flo. But yeah, I thought that element was interesting to not do the same kind of interviews within the other cast, just with the writers and people behind the scenes.
Which
because
is very
they're telling
smart.
what they saw.
Yes. And then I agree, the whole Ethel and Fred thing, and then the real life of them, I thought was really good because we know they did not like each other. Yeah. We knew he was drinking the whole time.
When I thought it was interesting that they fully embraced that they clearly hated each other, and they didn't try to sugarcoat it, but they handled it in a way that it's the entertaining, almost the lighthearted element of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's laughable because they're so mean to each other, you can't help but laugh. And their jabs and whatever. But then there's those little moments of, you could tell they kind of might have at least in this performance, that they may have kind of respected each other, even though they hated each other.
Yeah.
But it was, we don't know, we weren't there. But I was concerned they were going to like sugarcoat over their behavior together, know.
No, and I think too, you get some interesting insight into the time period of women on TV, and we come into the thing. Well, Lucy's pregnant. We're gonna have this baby on TV, and they're like, "No, you're not. Women can't be pregnant on TV." So we're dealing with that whole thing, and so they were breaking down barriers. They were doing crazy things, and I remember on the show at some point where they pushed the two beds together, and that must have been scandalous.
Oh yeah,
and just dealing with all these issues. And then the interesting thing, though, too, is the whole Lucy and Ethel thing, because there is a thing there, and there was a thing, and it is noticeable on the show where Ethel had to be in her place because Lucy was the star.
Yeah, and there's a whole thing about keeping Ethel fat or chubby.
She was
but
fat.
They had to have had a good relationship because they did multiple shows together.
Yeah, they did.
Because Vivian Vance came on with that Lucy show as well.
The Lucy show. Yes, she did. She was on there.
It was still trash, but
it wasn't as good.
No, but she still came on
show. The one where she worked for Mr. Whatever at the hardware store.
Mr. Whipple.
Yeah, and then there was like 3 different Lucy shows.
Yeah,
so
she kept coming back. She wouldn't stay on.
So, anyways, it's really interesting, and yeah.
And fun fact for those of you who don't know, Lucille Ball is also why you got the Star Trek TV series.
She was running that studio.
I think Desilu Productions produced that show.
Yep, she believed in it. So, anyways, I thought it was really good. I think they did a good job. I think for me as a fan of I Love Lucy, getting to see more of the behind the scenes and what was going on and the struggle to get things written. And then even so, just the creative process, like she was visualizing the scenes as they happened. Like, no, we need to do it this way. This would be funnier, and
it reminded me a lot of watching that Beatles documentary. Even though this is an acting performance, you're getting to see the genius working, because I think for people that don't know a lot outside of the show I Love Lucy, they know the funny Lucille Ball in the show. There's a lot of people that don't know how powerful she was in Hollywood at that time. As I don't think she didn't run a studio, but she was like, she essentially did.
He did kind of. They did together.
But to get to see her kind of genius and the power that they wielded, and how it mattered. Something as stupid as, like, there's this whole thing with this table scene that's really brilliant to watch, to see how many times and how important it is, and how that scene ends up being, one of the most important scenes of that show and that episode and this things, and but also seeing how she's bouncing off the writers and the other actors, and
then also dealing with, since they were producing and writing the show, and they were sometimes butting heads with the studio exec, and then legal was there, and then the sponsorship was there. Philip Morris was there. The Westinghouse guy was there, or as Ricky would always say on the show, Westinghouse. And he's like, it's Westinghouse.
It was funny.
Anyways, it's funny because that came up in the show several times.
Yeah. And what's funny too is my personal connection to Philip Morris.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a kid, my dad. We're talking about the shirt. My dad worked at Kraft for 40-something years. Philip Morris bought Kraft, and I remember I remember specifically, and I believe kind of how they handled this show, because from firsthand seeing as a kid how different Kraft became when Philip Morris came in. It became a different entity. Like Kraft before Philip Morris was, even though it was a big company, it felt like a family business. We could go in, we could go to the plant, people would visit and say hi. Philip Morris came in, lock down this, we're getting rid of this, you don't have this, not that they're bad, it's just it became a corporate thing. Corporate. And you could tell they had opinions. Yeah. So every time I see something like these and they start talking about Philip Morris, I'm like, these guys again.
Yeah. But it was interesting because that whole thing with Lucy's pregnant, they just want to have her pregnant on the show, became a huge deal. And so it's like, the lawyer for the studio was there. The lawyer for Desi was there. The lawyer for Lucy was there. Philip Morris was there. Westinghouse was there. And what show were CBS or whoever was there. I mean, like every single person was there in the room. And, he's like, okay, Lucy's pregnant. And they're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? How did this happen? And she's like, really?
Do I need to explain to you?
And then she's like, okay, is no one first going to say congratulations? And they're like, no. It's so bizarre, that having to deal with these things. Because now it's like, okay, whatever. Either the person becomes pregnant on the show,
it's hard to imagine,
story, or you just cover it with a pillow and you move on.
It's like younger people trying to watch this, and for them to kind of trying to comprehend, why is it a big deal that their beds are together? Why is it a big deal to see somebody?
It was. And
it's the discussion they're having in there is the mentality people would have about it now.
Correct.
Of like, we can't show a pregnant woman on television. People are watching this, and you can't show two people kissing on TV. You can't.
It's interesting.
But they can show them smoking.
Correct.
Like smoking,
because Philip Morris was a sponsor.
Yeah, smoking was fine, but they couldn't sleep in the same bed. And like they couldn't even just have the beds together without them in them, because it implied sex. And I'm like,
well, and if you notice, at one point later on, when they do push the beds together, it's not one big bed; it's two separate beds
put together,
where they're made when the beds, like the sheets are tucked in between.
Right.
And I mean, there's just random things. Like, back then people couldn't be barefoot on TV.
Yeah.
So the ladies, you could tell they had stockings on under their pajamas or whatever. And it's just so many weird, quirky things back in the day.
They're all man things.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Because you notice the men were always pretty much could do whatever they wanted on every show. Yeah. You'd have those Western shows, the guy would have his shirt off and he'd be working out in the woods.
Yes.
And he'd be fighting, because that was showing manliness.
But women
always had to be fully dressed, and they had to be looking their best to vacuum the floor, which I think is something we need to go back to.
Wow.
I think you need to be dressed up when you're doing the dishes and the vacuum. Oh, wait.
I don't do any of that.
You don't do any of that, so never mind.
Yeah.
I'll start wearing a tuxedo while I clean the house.
Yes, you should. Wear some pearls. Anyways, check out The Ricardos. It is on Amazon.
No, it is not.
It's not.
It's in theaters now. It will be on Amazon on December 21st. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, go watch it. It's interesting. Thank you.
You are welcome. It's my job.
It's like I thought it was this week.
We also got to sit in the roundtable.
Yeah, it was a roundtable interview.
Zoom interview session that had all 4 of the main cast. We got to send in some questions about it, and was hoping we were going to post this, but they have not sent me the link of the video. So I guess I'm going to get it, or I'm not going to get it at some point. They might. I'm assuming they might send it closer to Prime when it comes on that time. So who knows? But it was interesting. It was a little quick. 10 minutes? Yeah. Getting to listen to them just answer some of the questions, and I think a couple of our questions. At least one of our questions got asked. One of our questions. They had moderators, so we had to submit questions, and then
the guy asked,
which made more sense because trying to zoom everybody in and talk, it
would have been a disaster.
But we actually asked specifically about, as an actor playing a character or whatever, as well as asked about the concerns taken on these iconic people that also played iconic roles. Did you have reservations? Mm-hmm. And I think Nicole Kidman talked about how she said no numerous times.
Yeah, she said that too.
Convincing her, and the research that went into behind to find them. And J.K. Simmons, I thought was interesting because he was like, there wasn't a lot to find out about him.
Yeah,
he's like, all you had was that show. Everything else, he was very private. His other stuff he did wasn't really, as prominent. So it was a little harder for him to research. So anyway, but check it out. Theaters now, December 24th, Prime Video.
There you go.
Moving on.
All right. So now it's your turn.
To me?
Yes.
Okay, coming out this week. Yes. As we get closer to Christmas, there's usually not as many releases coming out. Sometimes more in the theater than actually on the home stuff. But there's actually some decent stuff hitting this week. A couple of them will be talking about. Well, 3 of them should be talking about next week. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's getting Blu-ray and 4K this week. It's already available on digital, I believe.
I had to do my song.
I know. The Wolf of Wall Street is getting the 4K treatment. If you've never seen that, you should check it out. It's a great movie. You still haven't seen that movie, have you?
I have not.
Wolf of Wall Street. You're missing that. It's a great movie. The Last Duel is coming to Blu-ray and DVD. We'll be talking about that finally, hopefully next week. A movie called South of Heaven, starring Jason Sudeikis, Evangeline Lilly, and Mike Coulter is coming out. We'll talk about that one as well as The Card Counter with Oscar Isaac. That is also coming out this week.
Yes, we have to watch that.
Hold on, is this other one coming this week or the week after? I think so. Okay, it's week after. That's all. That's all the big ones for this week.
Okay.
What you got, sister?
So coming out, we have things coming out on Wednesday.
Nothing very important this week.
What? There's always important stuff coming out Wednesday. Okay, let's see. If this is near you, I don't know. It's called Harper. It's the story of an 11-year-old girl who loses her father and has to go live with her alcoholic aunt. So that's going to be interesting. Paramount Plus. It's a little movie called Rumble.
That's coming to Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
So excited.
So
I've been waiting for this.
Monster Wrestling?
Yeah, it's based on a book. And
it's Tony Danza, Terry Crews, Will Arnett, bunch of people.
Essentially like big kaiju monsters, but it's like a Fight Club kind of thing.
Oh, I think I remember seeing this.
It was called, it's based on a book. Anyway, it was promoted before COVID. There's another one again. I didn't know it was going straight to
Paramount Plus. It's an animated feature, right? Yeah. It's called Rumble.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Coming to Netflix.
I'm down for monsters fighting.
I know. Netflix, The Hand of God. From, what is this movie? About a little boy, Fabio Toshisa, in the tumultuous city of Naples in the 1980s. So, I don't know. Hand of God story of unexpected joys when something happens. Who knows? Okay. Disney Plus. Ron's Gone Wrong. Oh. It's the one about the little robot thing, right?
Well, AI, we missed out. I didn't know it was coming right to Disney Plus
It's
already.
coming to Disney Plus. Oh, Paramount Plus.
Right. That one. Oh, you don't tell because we may be talking about that because I'm hoping they'll send me a screen.
Okay, well, go back. Coming to Paramount Plus, something called Explant. It's a documentary.
Explant.
Oh. It's a documentary about breast implants. Oh, now, don't get all weird and crazy, but I know it's actually not pretty to watch because they shove them in and then they do this and they jiggle them back and forth.
That's what I do.
No, but it's nasty. I just from what I've seen. Anyhow, what?
Like, shove them in and then they do this. I'm like, that just describe most people's sex life.
Okay, but this is a breast implant.
I know, but
they stick it in from wherever, belly button or armpit or whatever, and then they shove it in, and they're anyhow.
Let's move on.
Okay. Anyways, Did you know that breast enlargement is the #1 cosmetic procedure in the world?
I did know that.
Okay. We may or may not talk about this. We hope
I'm hoping
to.
we can.
It's called Minamata. It's the new movie with Johnny Depp.
And
okay.
It's another one that's been made for a while.
And I love the dude.
Oh,
where is he?
Yuki Sanada?
Yes.
Yuki Sanada?
Yuki Sanada.
Yes. And Bill Nye.
Love him.
Not Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye, the older
vampire
man.
Davy Jones Locker guy.
Anyway, this is about a photographer that goes to Japan, war-torn Japanese village in the 70s dealing with dumping in the water.
Yeah, and I believe this is another one of those that got lost in the shuffle when all the controversy started. So
yes, but this looks amazing.
I got an email about it, and I've been wanting to see it for a long time. So I asked for links. So hopefully,
it's based on a true story.
Yes,
I'm assuming.
Okay,
it looks amazing. So yeah, coming out Thursday, continuing our Christmas movie, a California Christmas. So that's on Netflix. You know, there has to be a new Christmas movie every once in a while.
Have to pay for Peacock.
Then coming to Peacock, the new or the entire series.
No, it's a new series.
A new series?
Yeah, that was a movie they did.
Oh, so now there's
this is a TV series.
Oh Lord, the new series of MacGruber. If you're into that.
Look who's in it.
Kristen Wiig. Ryan Phillippe.
He's in the movie too.
And William
Which
Forte.
is weird because he died in the movie, I believe. So I don't know how they're going to bring him back.
You know what?
So I got to rewatch MacGruber.
Then coming out Friday, you're over here like it's a small week.
It is.
You're right. There's just a little movie called Spider-Man: No Way Home.
We are neck deep in a Spider-Man marathon because if you don't know, we're dealing with multiverse stuff.
So you don't know who's going to show up.
If you haven't seen the Tobey Maguire trilogy or the Andrew Garfield duology, then you need to check them out because there are connections to those movies. You know what?
I'm really liking the Andrew Garfield ones.
Well, they're over.
I think those are my favorites.
There's no more.
I know, but those are my favorites. Okay, coming out nationwide, Nightmare Alley. You guys, we were able to see this movie. We will be talking about next week. It is a must-see. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Limited. Coming to Hulu, Mother Android. It's in the future. And it has a mother android thing. Who knows? Chloe Grace, whatever her name is, Moretz is in it.
I like her.
Who knows? They're trying to escape a war of artificial intelligence. So basically, Skynet is real, which we knew. So you need to watch it. Limited.
That one, we have that, but we'll save that for the weekend.
Okay,
That's
limited,
a Christmas
limited,
release,
limited. Video Demand and Digital, The Novice. Some guy joins a rowing team.
Burger King?
A lady joins the rowing team.
Rowing team.
The rowing team.
The Burger King.
Coming to Apple Plus.
That's another thing you've asked me to watch.
The Swan Song, but it has I want to say this right. Mahershala Ali.
I like that you're going to call him the Mahershala.
It is right, Mahershala.
The new Blade for Marvel.
Mahershala Ali. He's so good. So I would probably watch it just because he's in it. What is happening to him? He's dealing with a terminal illness. His kids and all these things. So it looks kind of sad, but that's all right. And I think that's kind of it for the weekend.
Yeah. So obviously we'll be doing a big Spider-Man discussion because we're gonna probably, if we have the time, we're gonna probably go ahead and watch Into the Spider-Verse as well. I don't think you have to go this far back and watch the 70s Spider-Man movies or any of the Spider-Mans from Electric Company.
Are any of them alive?
Yeah, they got to play Spider-Man back.
Well, you don't know. He might show up.
Well, that's just true, but I don't think
anybody's
paying attention to him anymore.
You don't know. We don't know.
He shows up in shows periodically sometimes still.
Spider-Man, Spider-Pig, Spider-Pig.
Did you know that there's actually a Japanese Spider-Man TV series from back in the day that was very much
I bet it's really good.
It's not. It's
Is it like Kaiju?
Yeah, it deals with kind of like Power Ranger-esque world where he has he grows up really big and fights stuff, and he's but he got bed and he's got
I'm telling you, these Andrew Garfield movies got me in the feels this week. I'd never seen that second movie.
Really?
I'd never seen. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure you have.
No, I'd never seen it.
It's not possible that you've lived with me and haven't seen that. So I'm pretty sure you might have just forgotten it.
No, I've never seen it.
You've told me a lot of things that you haven't seen.
No,
I know for a fact I sat next to you at the theater.
I think that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one. I promise I've never seen it.
You said that before on other movies. I know for a fact we were sitting side by side.
That movie. It was really good. I cried.
Pretty sure she has.
So good.
It's okay.
All right. Tell me.
We'll accept it.
About the contests.
Okay, so we haven't got a lot of new stuff. I think most everything on here is the same stuff we've been telling you, because I still have copies of stuff. I've started mailing some of them out. Some of the contests have actually ended, so some of them will be shuffling out of there. I think there's only one new one I might have added this week, but we still got copies of the Mad Max Anthology on 4K. One of the newer ones is The Hell Hath No Fury, which is a movie I got to interview Daniel Bernhardt for.
Nice.
That interview will be popping up soon. We had a little technical issues on delayed it. Movie Raging Fire. It's a Donnie Yen shoot 'em up action flick, which is really good. Clint Eastwood and Cry Macho.
Really good.
It's kind of a talkie, but it was actually we really liked that.
I enjoyed it.
The animated feature of The Monkey King Reborn, and last but certainly not least, Malignant, the new movie from
Which
James
I think many
Wan.
people did like.
Yeah, some people really liked it. Some people really hated it. So you can decide for yourself by winning a copy.
And then you can watch it, figure it out.
Yeah, or you can just read my review and find out if we liked it, and then decide if you think you want a copy from me.
Who knows?
And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, friends, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Click the contest button. That's where all the free stuff, the button. Make sure you go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Go like, thumbs up, subscribe, share, send smiley faces, send stars. We'll accept your dollars on the stars. We'll take anything you want to give us.
The more interaction there is, not just on page views, but the more interactions on views of like these videos on YouTube or whatever, the likes on the pages, the sharing out there, the traffic in general. We do not get monetized for it, so we don't ask you to do this because we get money for it. I ask you to do this because the bigger stuff, the more we get, the more variety of stuff they'll send us. Box sets of stuff, things like this to give away to you. So you don't have to. It's fine. If you want to leave it just the way it is right now, then things will be the same. We'll still exist.
Be okay.
And we'll still tell you about
all
the
We'll still watch movies because we love movies.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't get paid.
And I just finished watching Santa Inc.
Oh, is it good?
That's that Seth Rogen Santa Claus show you were.
Oh, I was like, is Seth Rogen in Santa Claus? Because I can hear that is a voice you can't forget.
Yeah. He's always Seth Rogen. He's like.
We got to watch the Seth Rogen movie.
Can I just point out that show got a bad rap?
Really?
It was really bashed for some reason, and we don't know if it was just people because they hate Seth Rogen because he's been very anti the Trump stuff and the pro-vaccine stuff, and people don't know if people attacked it because of that. It is very much not a children's show.
As most of his
it's a stop motion animation, reminiscent of like the old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and things like this. It's on HBO Max. It's like an 8-episode or 7-episode series. It's very dirty. There's naked puppets and all kinds of. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I really enjoyed it. So people that said it's not good, you can give you one of these.
All righty then.
Right.
On that note, we will see you next Sunday. Same time.